The USA is a big country and has many citizens living in it. Many of them are patriots, people who support their country and would fight for it. And they would say US is probably the greatest country. And to some degree, they're right. But Canada is just a way better country. Just ask a non-American, and they would probably say Canada is just way better. Canada also statistically is great, and we are in the top 3 for best countries in the world, right up there with Japan and Switzerland. But America is ranked 8 in the world because of all their many flaws in their system, like crime, better living environment, etc. In Canada, we have so many benefits that Americans don't have, like free healthcare, better education, better educational system, and more. Healthcare is probably the biggest part of the America versus Canada debate. Healthcare, no matter what an American might say, the people of Canada are safer and are insured, and we don't have to pay lots of money to receive medical treatment for wounds, sicknesses, etc. We also have a better educational system than the Americans, which with our better educational system, we have less homeless and more successful people with well-paying jobs, giving us a better economy, and in the future will benefit Canada. Canada is one of the best countries in standings, and one of the main reasons for that is the low crime rate in Canada. I'm not saying that we're perfect, but hear me out. America in the past 5 years has been no saint for crime either. They are way worse than most countries. I will give you some examples of why American crime is so bad. Number 1, in 2018 alone, America had 113 deaths and injuries of students. They also reported 23 incidents of school shootings in the U.S. 2. The U.S. is one of the worst countries for gun violence. In 2019, there were 297 mass shootings. Out of those shootings, 1,219 people were injured and 335 people died. There were almost as many mass shootings as there were days in a year, and that's only mass shootings, not just shootings. While I'm not saying Canada is safe, the data supports that we are much better than the US in crimes, which means Canada has a much better and safer environment for living. Another reason Canada is better than the US is because we don't have rundown cities like Detroit, which has 70,000 abandoned homes and 30,000 completely empty homes, and is rated the worst city in the country. And it is famously known for being the trash city of America. Another city in Michigan is Flint. And if you haven't heard in Flint, Michigan, what's happening in Flint, Michigan, they had to deal with the water crisis that happened in 2014 and is still happening to this day because of the government changing Flint's pipes to connect to the Flint River. Pipes were originally connected to Lake Huron, and because of the change to the Flint River, people of Flint had to suffer due to heavy lead pollution in Flint River. And Michigan hasn't done anything to help Flint, but they gave purified water to the General Motor companies in Flint, even though which shows how little the U.S. can care about one of their own cities, but instead care about money and manufacturing. Something like this would never happen in a modern Canadian city. In Canada, we have much better people than the U.S. Our people, due to a lower population, are nicer and have less issues with others. The U.S. is a place with many races and religions, but much of their population has problems with the people who come to their country because of reasons of their own, such as they're taking our jobs or they're not good for this country. Whatever their excuse might be, you can't say that a lot of the American population isn't racist. But in Canada, we have a much healthier environment for other races and religions than the United States because many Americans judge the multicultural people. No doubt about it, the U.S. spends way too much money on the military, while us Canadians haven't nearly spent as much money on our military as the U.S. The U.S. spends money on weapons, aircraft, and carriers, and ships when they don't need all that stuff, and it costs millions, if not billions of dollars to fund to have all the weaponry and other things that the U.S. buys, which does not look good on the U.S. because, like I said, cities like Flint, Michigan are having problems with their water, and the U.S. is not helping. But instead of saving Flint, they would rather purchase a new jet, which is probably over $1 billion US. The U.S. is a country of country with problems and they don't seem to want to improve it. They just keep adding on by the government's money being wasted on war tech, or how they won't fund or problem solve the issues in Michigan with Flint and Detroit, and how non-open they are to the people of other races. The list goes on. Well, in Canada, we have very little problems of this extent, And with all the things happening in America, I'm proud to be a Canadian and not have to worry about shootings and other of the things I listed. Thank you for listening. I'm Evan Conway.